Hello friends. Today we are back with our another episode in Voice It. Today we have Mr. Deepu Xavier, who is the co-founder of Zappy Hire. Mr. Deepu Xavier has been the project manager lead in various MNCs like Infosys, Oracle, Bosch, and Rapid Value. Hello, sir.
Hello, Akash.
Sir, so today we have a few questions for you where we will be interacting and getting know more about your journey. So
Okay.
let's begin with the first question itself.
Yeah.
Sir, we would like to know more about your startup Zappyhire, which was started in 2018, and the
Yeah.
services it provides. Who are its target clients?
All right. Zappyhire was founded in 2018. That is 2 years back. So it's two people, Jyotis and myself. So we were working together from 2005. Actually, we were working with Infosys, and we were working together in India and in Switzerland. And right from around, I think 2011 onwards, we were always discussing about that we have to start up a business, start up a company on our own. And then onwards, we were thinking about a host of ideas, a lot of things that we would like to do. And then around 2017, we zeroed in on the recruitment domain, because that was one area where we have been working, in the sense that in our team, in our globally distributed teams, we had this requirement of hiring a lot of people. So there were a lot of issues that we were facing when we were actually doing our recruitment, or when we were building our team. And that is when Jyotis and I, when we started discussing, how can we make this better? Or is there an opportunity in that problem? So that is when we thought that, okay, why don't we employ artificial intelligence and machine learning to leverage those capabilities to enrich the experience of a recruiter or a talent acquisition team. And with that, we started thinking about in depth about how can we automate recruitment using AI. And that's how Zappyhire came into picture. So it was almost a 1 year, 1 year of hard work before we actually launched Zappyhire into the market. So 2018 and around 2019, we launched the product in the market. Currently, we have more than 15 members in our team, and with a handful of customers in India, Europe, and other places. So to give a one-liner requirement, a one-liner point about the Zappyhire, we're talking about a fully autonomous, intelligent recruitment system. That is like, you have a job description, you just feed in the job description, give a handful of candidates, say 100 or 500 candidates. The system will find, okay, out of this 500, who are the best 50 or 100, and then engage with them in an automated manner. The system will engage with them through all the robotic automations, chatbots, and identify and understand more about the candidate. And using that information, it will tell to the HR, okay, out of the 500 applicants, the system has gone through, engaged with the top 50 or top 100, and here are your top best 20 or 10. So that entire human touch points can be reduced with Zappyhire. To answer your second point, who are the target clients? I would say you don't have any organization without the need of recruitment, right? Everyone has to recruit. The challenge is, are you recruiting the right person with the right set of skills? So with Zappyhire, I would say anybody who really wants to have a right hiring. When I say right in terms of the quality, right in terms of the job fitness, right in terms of the entire match for that particular job. So I would say wherever this is a need, Zappyhire can actually fit in.
So that's really amazing, especially like in today's scenario where people actually really look for students who have with good caliber for interview sections, like even for HR. So it's actually really helpful by providing them such an amazing platform.
Right. And
So
if I
we
may
have,
add again, like for example, Zappyhire is a good fit for campus recruitment and for lateral recruitment. So if I look at the last 12 months, I think around more than 20,000 students, like postgraduate and graduate students, have gone through our process, through our system, through Zappyhire for various of our customers. And around 900 plus candidates, if I'm not wrong, close to 1,000 candidates were hired from campuses across India, like where these schools and graduate engineering colleges included. So around 1,000 candidates were hired through our platform in the last 12 months. So I think overall, based on what we have been hearing from from our end users, they were like really an enriching experience to use such an intelligent system in their campus recruitment process itself.
So especially that's a very great number. As started for, it's been 2 years since you have started, and especially you are able to give almost 1,000 of students who have been successfully placed in various companies. So that's actually very good one. So I have a second question for you.
Mhm.
From a mechanical engineer, then moving into an IT field and working for Infosys, Bosch, Oracle, you might have many life-changing moments that turned you into an entrepreneur. So could you please share with us?
So I would say, like, the career started in 2005. Like, I mean, right out of college, I joined Infosys, and I was there in Infosys for close to 9 years, and then moved on to Bosch as a product manager, and then moved to Oracle as a principal product manager of the Java language. So there have been, I wouldn't say it's a life-changing experience, but there have been a lot of experiences throughout the journey. Because I mean, when I'm looking now as a person who is running a very small business, there is a lot of things that one needs to acquire to run a business. So even if it is a very small business, like ours is a very small company, even from that perspective, I would say the way you interact with your customers, the way you look at a product, like it's very easy to make a very basic product, but it's a little difficult to make the product usable by a customer. And ultimately, you charge for a product, and the users should pay you money and then use the product. Then there has to be something in the product, right? If it is a free tool, it's a different story. But the moment you make it like a subscription based, people have to accept it. There should be some value that you derive out of it. So I think the journey that I had with companies like Infosys, Bosch, Oracle, or Rapid Valley, I would say the most important thing that, for that matter, anybody who would have worked with MNCs or other established companies is, one, you have a very good understanding about what a customer would expect when they're paying you money. What do they expect out of the product? There should be some value for money in that. Second, you just can't make any product which, yeah, this is a good product, but should they buy it? There should be a unique selling proposition. There should be something special about the product. So defining a product, looking at the customer and deciding whether, yeah, is this what the customer needs, is something which I would have learned from all these companies. Another way to look at things is, you have a product and you have a host of competition products around you, right? You are not alone in the industry. So what makes your product stand apart from your competition? That is another part. So these kind of things, the way you manage all those things, you can't just be out from the college. I would say it may be possible for a lot of people, but at least personally, I feel that the advantage of working with some of those good companies is you get a host of this experience, and with this experience, you decide, okay, now let's start a business. You have a you have a wealth of knowledge that you acquire from this companies, especially the kind of people that you work with in these bigger organizations. They are like well qualified, mature, grounded people who know how to handle things. So I would say, if I look back, a lot of these good mentors that I have would have come from Infosys, Bosch, Oracle, and all these companies.
Okay, so here we have a next question. Will all these working experience you had, as will you be helped or benefited during your journey? How did your experience? You had shared that you had very huge experiences from all these MNCs. So how they really helped you, especially in the worst scenarios which you had ever experienced?
Okay, so worst scenario, I would say, I mean, if I look back just 5 months back itself, we have this COVID-19 situation. So with the COVID-19 situation, things are a little different, right? I mean, if you have even if it is a very small team of 10 to 15 people or 15 to 20 people, it's much easier to manage things when you see them face to face on a daily basis, right? But when things go a little south, in the sense that you have this COVID-19 situation, you have people totally working from home. So at that situation, you need to have that project management skills. You need to know how to manage things, even if it is a remote situation. How do you manage it? Like if I look back, even in Oracle or in Infosys, for that matter, you have a geographically distributed team. You will have team across the globe, and you work with all these people. So there, you don't have the luxury of meeting them face to face, right? You don't sit with them together. You don't share a cubicle and then work together. You manage how to, or you learn how to manage things, even if it is remote, even if they are totally disconnected, even if people are working on multiple time zones. You still find a way out to work effectively with them. So with the kind of experience that I would have gained from other companies, I would say with this COVID-19 situation, it was not that difficult. I mean, we actually switched, like on a single day, we were able to switch the entire working mode and say that, okay, tomorrow onwards, we are all going to work from home. I think we started working from home from March 10th. That is like, it's been 5.5 months as of now. And things are going extremely well. I mean, I would say the credit goes to the team. I mean, the team is so mature and they are extremely cooperative, because they have the sense of ownership. So it's all about hiring the right people, having the right set of people in the team. So all these kind of experience you can't just get overnight. So I would, again, as I said earlier, all this experience comes from, in my, at least my personal case, I would attribute this entire thing to the organizations and the people that I have worked with in the past. So that is one thing. Another thing, like, again, when you are talking about a customer management, none of the customer will be happy. Like, they will never be like 101% happy saying that, okay, you give me a product and it's all good. The customer expectation or the stakeholder expectation is something which is a little difficult, but with experience, it builds up. It builds up to a very higher magnitude. So these are the main things which I felt I would have learned, and how I got benefited from these previous companies.
That was really amazing, especially in the era where we have lots and lots of startups, which had, I guess, recently grown up in the COVID situation as well. So competing with them is also a bit difficult, but still the experiences which you had in these MNCs might really help you for sustaining them as well for 2 years.
Yeah, even for that matter, right? Because when you're talking about a startup, you always think about putting the product out into the market. You don't think about processes. You don't think about other best practices and all those things. I'm not generalizing it, but that is a general tendency of a startup. Like, make the product and then launch into the market, which is extremely good and that is required. But still, uh, when uh, when situations like this COVID-19, or when there are certain other situations wherein you have to account for your processes, I would say, when you have experience with these established companies, you work with a process on the back end. You always have a process. When you have three people working together on a project, how do you share the task? If there is an issue reported, how do you manage the issue? If you have a bug to be tracked, how do you manage it? Or you just manage it in an Excel, or do you have some tool? So we at Zappyhire, we always believe that we have to use, wherever possible, we use tools for productivity improvement. And I think all these practices would have come from these established companies, because they believe in process. Because the advantage of process is it makes, to an extent, all this person independent. The things will just go with the flow. Even if I'm not there, if my co-founder is not there, if the team is not there, still the work will continue in a very seamless and smooth manner the moment you have processes in place. So this process-oriented project management or process-oriented product development, I would say this is again something which I would have learned from my previous organizations.
Okay, sir. Sir, I have something. Next question for you, sir. It's like you have been a presentator in various summits throughout your career. How was your experience being a presentator?
Okay, I would say not throughout my career. I would say, to be frank, during my career, during my tenure with Infosys, it was just a very normal career. Normal career in the sense that I was an independent player or a team player. That's it. But after moving to Oracle, that was a time when the responsibility was there to present the organization or present the team to a wider audience, to a general public, I would say, because I was a part of the Java programming language team at Oracle. So there, and there was only one product manager in India, and I was one of those principal product managers of Java language. So there, the expectation was to go and present. It is not that I was good at that, or it's not that I knew how to do it, but I was supposed to do it. So then it was not that easy, I would say, to, like, you can manage your work because it's your independent space. You can work in your comfort and do it. But the moment when it comes to you going out, speaking to people, trying to convince them on something which you believe is good, and that was not easy for me, at least for the first couple of things. I don't know. I mean, I would have prepared multiple times, rehearsed it multiple times, and then once you go there, you say, "Oh yeah, I mean, I actually forgot to say something," and that was a little difficult. But it took some 3 to 4 attempts, and after that, it was like much better. I mean, I would request. I mean, if you guys have a fear, or if you have any apprehension about people speaking in public, the only way to get over it is go out and speak, and that's the only way in which you can actually get over that. So and now, even within our organization, we always promote, ask people to actually explore opportunities outside and find a venue to go and express yourself. It can be a technical topic. It can be any other very simple topic. So even if I look at Zappyhire, I mean, in our organization, so every Friday we have this practice wherein one of the team members actually have to come and present a topic. It can be anything. So if I recall, there were topics about technical, non-technical, how to manage your time, and all those very management-oriented, like personal topics. But it could be anything. But the point is, just come out and speak, because it's a trick. It's a trick that you can master. It's like cycling. Unless you do cycling, you will never learn it. You have to fall. That is quite natural, and that's a part and parcel of that. But without falling down, you can't learn cycling. It's very simple as that. Public speaking also, the way I look at it, I mean, just like a normal person, if I look at it, you have to practice it, and without practicing, you will never be able to actually do that. So
Yes, sir. That's actually was really inspiring, especially as a newbie, like where I see like many students, especially when it comes to students still have a stage fear. So it's all about like be open, speak
yeah,
to people. That's where we get to learn. It's okay.
yeah,
Like first or the second time we will make a mistake, then we will also get a second chance. By then we also will improve. Like there will be a time where we will see a lot of crowd in front of us and we will be delivering something great. So that's all about experiences, how we do.
yeah.
That
Very true.
was
Because
really great.
you have to fail if you have to succeed. So the point is just go out, start speaking. There's nothing wrong. I mean, and if you have the luxury of speaking in front of people whom you know in a very small community, start with that. But that will help you a lot of how you present your ideas to a public. Because even if you have one of the greatest idea in your hand, even if you have the technical caliber to build it, it may take some time to hit the market. But if you have the right skill to present it in the public and sell that philosophy to them, I think you can accelerate, you can save a lot of time. The other philosophy also works, but if you can communicate it, if you can actually sell it to a person and say, this is what I'm talking about, this is the benefit, this is the disadvantage, this is the pros and cons, and you can save a lot of time if you present it in the right way. And it's about like it's a like a normal bell curve kind of thing. Like you start slow, you go to the peak. Once you reach the zenith, you try to sell the philosophy, and then slowly you come down, right? So any public presentation is also like that. You start very slow, and then you go to the topic, you reach there, then don't keep going up, then slowly come down and then settle down. Pass the thought again, saying, so this is what I was talking about. If you have any question, come back to me. So graciously you can end that session, and don't think that you have to speak for hours together. Maybe a 5 minutes good communication can actually be quite effective. And that is like, even in the startup world, you have this elevator pitch, if you have heard of it, right? So
Yeah.
even in the case of elevator pitch, you have got 2 minutes or 3 minutes to present your product, not more than that, or max 5 minutes. So you've got 5 minutes to sell a product in front of an investor. So how all that takes is how crisp you can wrap that entire philosophy, convince, talk to them or speak to them, convince them, and come back. So for all these things, even if you are especially interested in startup, I would say start speaking out and start getting an experience and feel of it.
Okay, sir. Sir, I have a next question for you. During the year 2012 and 2013, you have been recognized among India's most promising young managers. You were selected as the Economic Times Young Leader out of 20,000 applicants all over the India. What led you to achieve this recognition?
So I would say that, I mean, yeah, as you rightly, it was in 2012. So Economic Times had this initiative, I mean, which I was not aware of until then. So I happened to apply for this. So that was like a 4 months initiative. I don't exactly remember what was the qualification criteria. It was around 26 years was the minimum criteria, if I'm not wrong, between 26 and 32, something like that. So they have multiple rounds. So it was not like a one-day event. It was like a 3 to 4 months of engagement. You had online assessment. You have all those typical GMAT, CAT kind of initial rounds. Then I was invited to, if I remember right, a case study presentation, group discussion, kind of. I mean, all those typical rounds. And finally, after a period of around 3 months, if I'm not wrong, I was invited for a CEO interview where my interview panelist was Vineet Nair, who was the CEO of HCL Technologies in Noida. So I would say that was like, if I go back to your first or second question, first question, I think, what was the life-changing moment, I would say. So I would say it was not from the previous organizations. This was one of those real life-changing experience when I got a face-to-face time, around 30 to 45 minutes time with Vineet Nair, who was the CEO of HCL Technologies, wherein I happened to be in that room in his Noida office, and he asked, "Okay, what do you want to be?" Like I gave some all those prepared answers to him. So he was okay. So this is one answer that I would have expected from everyone. So I said that I want to start up a business. That was in 2012. So he asked me, "Okay, now go back 2 years. That was 2010, and compare yourself when you were in 2010." And when you look at yourself now in 2012, what have you done in the last 2 years to do a startup? Okay, so that was a question, because we all keep saying that, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, but are we really doing anything about it? Was his point, which was very true. I had to say that no, I mean, I have some plans, but I literally haven't done anything. So that interview, actually, from that moment onwards, he was like a very good mentor, and he started saying the importance of how you plan things. How you plan things in the sense that, so basically, you want to be something, let that be point B, and what you are, assume that it's point A. That B minus A, what is missing? So just start focusing on that. And according to him, just ensure that on a weekly or a monthly basis, if you look at it, you should be inching towards that point B from point A. And unless and until you are doing that, your ambition or whatever you say is basically just like, okay, I'm just saying for the sake of it. So if you're really serious about achieving something, his point was that go step by step and identify what you have to do. So for me, that learning, I would say that was kind of an inflection point for me to say that until then, whenever whatever I used to say, I'll start a business someday, it was actually not serious. I was not at all serious at that point because I was not doing anything about it. I was really happy with that, the comfort of earning a monthly salary and the job with Infosys at that point in time. And from that particular moment onwards, I started thinking, I mean, if I have to do something, I have to do something about it. Start preparing towards it. And that is when actually I resigned my job from Infosys, went to a product line, joined Bosch as a product manager, because a typical project manager or a technical lead kind of a role demands a certain set of skills. But if you want to start up a business, or if you want to start up a product on your own, with then the kind of skill that you require is a little different. How you manage a product, how you build a product, how you maintain a roadmap, how do you identify which features are required for your customers, and how you engineer things. It's not just about your work, it's about that entire product, how you shape the entire product and develop multiple components out of it, how you manage time, and then merge together and create a one big product that your customer needs. So those kind of experience comes from, if I look back as a product manager. And then from that moment onwards, I think it was pretty much planned. Okay, at some point in time, I have to start up, and I was slowly and steadily, I think things are moving in the positive direction after that. And apparently in 2018, so my co-founder Jyotis and I, we decided that, well, let's start up, let's stop talking and let's start doing. And the biggest decision that was actually to decide to quit the current organization. And that was one of the biggest decisions, because until then you have this comfort of monthly salary, right? And as an entrepreneur, the first biggest decision that you have to take is, are you ready to live without a salary? And so yeah, in 2018, we actually got the courage to put down the paper and quit the organization and start looking for, let's start. And then luckily we had NASCOM 10,000 startup warehouse. We contacted them. So they immediately said, the idea seems really good. Why don't you apply and we will see. And they gave us a office space in Info Park. And after that, we applied for a place in Kerala Startup Mission. And that also apparently happened really fast. And we got a office space in Kerala Startup Mission, where we are currently located. So that was how things were. And if I look back at the Economic Times Young Leader, the biggest thing was to start planning. You want to be there. What is the gap? Work towards it.
So that was really amazing to hear your experience, especially what you had experienced in 2012. That was really knowledgeable for us. So I have a next question for you. Did you have ever any insight during your graduation life about your future pursuing a career in coding?
Not really, not at all. Because I would say you're extremely lucky if you have that amount of clarity when you're studying. But for me, it's like typically average, and it was not clear. So for me, it was like engineering, and once you're done with engineering, you look for a job. So luckily, by the end of my studies in S6 or S7 types, campus placement was there, and got placement in Infosys. So it was not, to answer your question, it was not like I had a passion for coding. I loved coding at that time, but it was not like, okay, coding is the thing that I want to be. Okay, I would say, if given a chance, if you guys, I don't know the kind of audience who will be listening to this, if it is some college students, I would say, if it is possible, the best option would be to have a clear plan, see what you want to do. You can save a lot of time, I would say. Because for me, it was like, software engineer was one of those jobs, and I was happy with that. And once I started working, I started loving the job. And then I thought that, this is not bad. I'm loving it. I was able to enjoy my work, and that's what matters. According to me, I think if you're able to enjoy what you're doing, you just continue there. There is nothing wrong. As long as you reach a point where, this is not what I want to be. So if you always, typically, you consider a couple of 3 things, right? Are you doing the right thing? Or you might think, are you in the right place and at the right time? So that, are you in the right are you having the right time for doing things may not be in your control, but are you in the right place and are you doing the right thing is something which you can extremely, it's under your control. So for me, I would say, as I said earlier, it was not well planned or anything. I just happened to be in the IT industry, but after that, I started loving it, and then started thinking, okay, if you have to make a change, if you want to be in a different set of lifestyle with, like you don't want to be just working for an organization. You want to come out to generate employment. You want to work with a great team. You want to build a great team, and that's when you start carving out some additional skills for yourself, and then go out in the market and say, okay, now I feel that we can start up a business. So again, I would say there are two kinds of people who can manage things like this way. One set would be like start straight out of college, startup, not bad. If you have the confidence, go for it. Another set of people would be, let me just work for a couple of years or 4 to 5 years and then start up. That is extremely helpful. That I can vouch for it. Because once the moment, as I earlier said, if you have or if you have that experience with these corporates, you know how to manage things because you're actually learning at the expense of somebody else, to put it in a very simple word. That's also good, and I would say that is really good. But the other kind of people who actually without an experience, if you want to start up, there is nothing wrong, because unlike earlier, now the situation is much better. You've got a lot of mentors around you. You have organizations like Kerala Startup Mission and all those places where people are willing, they are forthcoming, they come to you and say, how can we help you? So with those kind of ecosystem, I would say even if you are a final year student or you're just out of college, you don't have any valid work experience, still I would say you've got a lot of mentors out there, a lot of organizations who are there to help you. So if you want to start up a business, I think the ecosystem is extremely fertile for you to do that.
Okay, sir. Sir, I have another question for you. Being a mechanical engineer graduate, what made you end up as a program developer in Java? Did you have any interest beforehand? If so, why did you choose mechanical engineering?
So I'll take the reverse order. Why did I choose mechanical engineering? Because there were very few subjects which, say, I mean, once you are completing your 12th standard, you have your own set of concerns and apprehensions about what you want to be, right? So you always think about, okay, I might be good at what I know. So at that 12th standard grade, I think, I mean, the way I was thinking, maybe immature, maybe not that professional, I would say, physics was something which I loved. So I thought, okay, let me look at those set of engineering branches which is more aligned with physics. And mechanical engineering was the thing. And I was not wrong, I would say. It was, I mean, I enjoyed that entire 4 years. So that was how I landed up in mechanical engineering. Now, after mechanical engineering, then it came about job. So that I already told. It was about a choice that I had to make between, say, for example, a job in a mechanical engineering field. So at that time, I had this offer from Reliance Petrochemicals and from Infosys. So those are the two job offers. And I was thinking, like, I mean, which one would more suit me? Looking at the prospects, looking at, and even if I look at my family, I mean, I have two brothers, both of them are in the software industry. So I keep hearing from them the stories of being a software engineer, which was not bad. And I thought I might like it. So luckily, by God's grace, I would say it was not that bad. The first few years was a little struggling thing because the way you always think about engineering, it was always mechanical engineering in mind. And then you got this piece of code to write. And you don't have any, literally no experience in coding. I would say, I think the first year we had the C programming language, that was it, from an engineering perspective. And then you go to a company like Infosys but I mean, out there, it is not that bad, right? I mean, you have this 3 months of training. I don't know how it is now, but earlier you had 3 months of literal intensive training that you get in Mysore. And after that, you're like, okay, yeah, I mean, and you're not alone. So you have a lot of people from a similar background and you learn together. And the culture that you have in these bigger organizations are extremely nice and great. I mean, they give you space to learn. They give you space to grow. They give you space to ask questions. They are okay with you failing. They will give you a good cushion, I would say. Even if things go wrong, they say it's okay. It always goes like that. So, but you do, next time you don't make that mistake. So those kind of mentors were always there. So, and I would say that is the same philosophy that we are actually trying to apply in Zappyhire also, like giving a very good environment for growing, for learning, for failing. And we have, I would say, I mean, very recently we had from Model Engineering College, and I would say they're extremely talented, extremely cooperating, taking the ownership at a very young age. So that's really good. So you have great caliber, people with great caliber out there. And the only thing as a founder of one of the founders of the company, what we actually have to provide is give a great environment for them to learn and to fail. So basically, you should never be afraid of failing. That's the only thing. You should say that, okay, this is okay, but next time I'll just correct it. and learn and go, and then learn, unlearn, relearn, just go with the flow. That's it.
Yes, sir. That's actually really too, which I too think. Like it's all about our experiences or about our failures that make us, I guess, stand strong, especially in this current situation. So, sir, here we have with a final question, like, what values or what tips would you like to give to our budding entrepreneurs from your side?
Okay, so if you want to be an entrepreneur, there are two, three things that you would always want to see. One, are you ready to be an entrepreneur? In the sense that, as I said, if you want to be an entrepreneur, the biggest thing that you have to consider is you won't get paid immediately. You need to have patience to get payment, which means you have to be financially independent. To run the company, you need to have money, you need to have space, you need to have the infrastructure. If you want to hire, you need to hire people. So that financial part is something which you have to ensure that you are good. The second part, do you have the right idea? So when I say right idea, what I mean is economically viable idea which can turn into a product which people will buy for money. That's why it's called economically viable. So you have a great idea, you have the great technical capability to build it, but if you can't convert that into a business, if you can't convert that into a product which people buy for money, then the economic viability will not be there. It's not a bad idea. You can be a good open source contributor. There's nothing wrong in that. But if you want to make money out of it, or if you want to entice an investor to put his money into your idea, he will look at how serious are you, how mature are you, how mature is your idea, how much of analysis have you done on the market to understand, okay, this idea, it's already out there in the market, but still there is a USP. I've made some changes which is not easy to reproduce. See, if these pieces are there, then your investor also, or anybody for that matter who is listening to you, will say that, this guy seems to be serious, this guy seems to have a great idea, and he has understood his market. And the last thing that you have to do is, if possible, try to learn or try to understand more about the stakeholders. Who is going to use this product? A user journey kind of analysis. Try to understand, if I have to make a product, who is going to use it? So if my user, like for a very simple example, you're going to make a product for Chinese market, let's say like that, or for a Japanese market, and you're making the product in English. That's not the right thing. So I'm taking, it may be a very simple hypothetical example, but always you have to design or engineer the product for your stakeholders. So for that, you have to go out, speak to your customers, understand them. So it's a typical design thinking concept. Speak to them, understand them, empathize them, and develop for your stakeholder. And develop as generic as possible such that you can actually scale up. And that's the last point. How scalable is your idea? You say that you've got a great product, it has a great USP, you've got a great team, and all those things, but your idea is not scalable. Okay, so if the idea is not scalable, the question would be, why should I, as an investor, or why should a person as an investor put money in your business, right? Because without an investment, there is always a little difficult to scale your business. So even if you're not planning to take an investment, still I would say that think as a, if you're going to present this to an investor, what would he respond? How would he respond to that? So just think about these things. Don't rush into entrepreneurship. Take time, think, introspect and answer these questions. How serious are you? Like, there are some people, I was a part of this the Young Innovators program by Kerala government. I was one of the selection panelists. So in that, there were a few applicants which came in, and the people came to us. And when they were presenting the idea, we asked them, okay, how serious are you about this? I said, I'm extremely serious. The next question that we asked was that, so are you attending campus interview? Yeah, campus interview we will attend. So then the point is, okay, how serious are you? Like, but if I get a job, I'll go. If I don't get a job, then I'll probably spend my time with the startup. So that's not the right attitude. I'm not saying that is bad, because job is important. That's all. Your financial independence, your family commitments, everything is important. But when you're talking about a startup, you have to be serious. You should be ready to spend time in the startup. You should have a clear focus on what you're going to make. If possible, build a great team around you, so where you can complement the skills. You don't want to have everyone as a good technical person. You need to have somebody who can actually present the company outside. You need to have somebody who has a flair of management. You need to have somebody who has a flair of say sales. So create a perfect team, and then start thinking about let me start tomorrow, I'm going to start my business. So take time, don't rush through the process.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for such a wonderful time. Like it was really good to have you and hear out all your experiences. And finally, I would like to thank you on behalf of ieeepie Kerala section team for accepting our invitation. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. And we all wish you a very successful journey ahead. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Akash. Thanks a lot. And I hope this was helpful to some of you. So thanks a lot.
This is Akash Nair signing out.